guys, and welcome to Sit and Knit for a Bit. I'm your host, Melissa. You can find me on Ravelry at Aurora Evermore. I'll have to excuse about my wonderful haircut. I was trying for a new look and I don't like it on me. I'm going to go back to the haircut I had before, so don't make fun of me for my wonderful haircut. It grows back. It'll be fine. I'm a little embarrassed to go to lunch or breakfast tomorrow with the girls, but I can't do anything about it except wear a hat. I just want to say hello to everybody. My last video, I think I have like 300 views already, so woohoo. Hopefully people are liking it. I don't know if they watched the entire thing or not. Doesn't matter, I'm not really doing this for fame. I am strictly just doing this because it gives me a reason to talk about my yarn and knitting. Mostly because I'm pretty sure that all my friends and family are sick of hearing me talk about my knitting, and so this is a way for me to express it. So whether you want to watch it or not, doesn't matter. I will apologize about some noise. I'm leaving the door open. I have a baby gate so the dogs can't come in, but I'm leaving the door open because it's too hot. As you can see, the sun is already starting to stream in and it's going to be on me full force soon. So I'm going to try to hurry and get this done. But I do have a lot to talk about today. A lot of exciting stuff. First, I'll talk about my tea. I found a new tea that I absolutely love. It might be my favorite tea. I can't stop drinking it. When I go back to the store, I'm going to have to buy some more. It's from my standard brand name. I was mainly looking for new teas that came in individual packages, and I'll tell you why later. And I was wanting something that was more seasonal type stuff, so interesting, and I thought this was kind of like a little dessert. And it's toasted coconut almond blend, and it is very good. It is a nice nutty but also creamy with the coconut flavoring. It's very good, and I'm wondering if a little pinch of salt would make it really good or not. Definitely like with some chocolate, you know, with a couple little chunks of chocolate with this would be really good. Super delicious. Yeah, my favorite. Okay, so I always like to at least start off with some kind of finished object for you guys. And I have not finished anything recently because I've been working on my temperature blanket, which I'll show you in a bit. So I just randomly picked one of my finished objects from a couple years ago and was like, hey, I'll show that one. You guys don't know anything about it, so I'll give it a whirl. So this was back in 2019. I had a subscription to Knit Crate. So this is their June 2019 month. Oh, sorry, I was looking at the back. And I had gotten this lovely purple. That was this purple, and I loved this pattern. And so that's what I knitted up. So it is the Rose of Lavender Shawl by Suzanne Lohman. And I haven't looked, but I'm sure you can find this online somewhere, maybe even Ravelry. I mean, this kind of stuff is like everywhere. Looks like, I didn't block it, so it's not as stretched as hers, so mine looks more like a scarf. But I do like it. I kind of wear it more like a scarf than, I mean, I wear most of my shawls like a scarf anyway, so it's just fine. Now, I had started this either in 2018 or possibly was that really COVID year? I don't know. It seems longer ago than that. Although that was 3 years ago. But I had started this roughly, you know, within a year after receiving the Knit Crate for it. But you start here and you work your way down, and when I got to this section, I was off by one, and so it wasn't creating these like X's inside, if you understand what I'm talking about. And it was doing it for the first few rows, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. And so I knew I had done something wrong. I either created one extra stitch, and so it was, you know, an even number instead of odd number. I don't know. And so I got frustrated because I had no idea how to fix the problem. Lace work is not the best and easiest thing to like back out of or frog. I mean, I think it's damn near impossible to frog it and pick it back up. I don't know if you, what you would call it. I can't think of it. But anyway, so I put it on hold for like a year. Could not decide what I wanted to do. And I finally was like, I really like to get it finished. I love the material of the yarn. I guess, I wonder if, I don't know if the yarn is in here. Oh, I don't know. If it's the same yarn that's listed here. Yeah, there's no instructions here. This is the yarn. I have a feeling it is the same exact yarn, but I do not have the ball band anymore. Sorry. Check my Ravelry. But anyway, I was like, I really want to finish it. And so I was like, screw it. I'm just going to rip it completely out and start all over again. I wasn't that far in, you know, maybe halfway, if not even that. And so I did, and it was fine. I had no problem, and I finished it like in a jiffy. And I love it. I've only worn it once or twice because I think I finished it last year. And I don't wear a lot of purple, like solid purple. Like this shirt would be, yeah, see, this shirt doesn't have any purple in it, so it would look a little weird. But when I do have purple, boom, I put this on. And in fact, I think I have a purple sweater I knitted, and I think I wore this with that purple sweater. I have a purple and gray cardigan. Maybe that's, I don't remember. I have the worst memory ever. It's my life. Oh man. Anyway, so there's that. There's my finished object that I finished probably like a year or so ago for you. And then I will talk about my temperature blanket. Now, I'm almost caught up. It's not going to look much different to you guys. It doesn't look much different to me, except that it just keeps getting bigger and heavier. I thought about draping it on the shelving, but it actually is, it's just too heavy. I couldn't get it to hold up. So it's going to be a nice, like, weighted blanket whenever it gets finished. And I swear it's going to be, like, king bed size. It's not just a throw blanket. But I've been working on it like crazy. Just like crazy trying to get it finished. And I even told myself that I was not allowed to podcast until I finished, or at least I caught up. And I just like, you know what? I am literally within like 5 days of being caught up, so it's not that big of a deal. I probably could finish this weekend because it's only Saturday midday. So anyway, and I've been desperate to podcast because I have some other stuff I want to talk about that I'm like so eager to talk about. So I was like, you know what? They're not going to be able to tell the difference that it's missing 5 squares. I can't tell the difference that it's missing 5 squares. So give me just a second and I'll show you what it looks like. So if you're not familiar, this is like the low and high temperature blanket. You can find it, was it free? I might have actually paid for the pattern. I'm pretty sure I paid for the pattern. I think I paid only like $5 or something for the pattern on Ravelry. Because I really wanted it, and I usually don't pay for my patterns. Not that I'm angry at anybody that has, charges for the patterns. If I ever get a pattern up there, I will charge. I just like free. I try to do things cheaply. I am in school, and so I just don't have all the money to throw around, and I tend to buy a lot of yarn with my money. Okay, I'm trying to find like the beginning. Yes, January 1. And what you do is like, this is January 1, so this is January 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and you go down like this, okay? But this ends up actually being the bottom, even though you start here, okay? So you can see that it's a bit cooler. We actually had kind of like a warmer beginning of January, and then it got cold. I'm probably just going to kind of roll this as I'm showing you. I'm going to try at least. And you can see where it got to the warmer temperatures. And this is how big it is now. It is crazy big. And the dark color that I'm working with is the brown, which is the high is over 100 degrees. Which is kind of a bummer because compared to the nice light here, it looks like it's got cold again because of the dark color. But if you look closely, you can tell that it's brown. And to tell you the truth, I didn't think we would have this many over 100 degree weather. So I thought I would have just a little bit, maybe like one stripe of it. I don't know. But it's fine. It's kind of just been, oh, that was the newest one I just did. Yep. And so the next one I'm about to do is going to go here. You see my little charm on there. Oh, the charm, or a stitch marker. This thing. That's why it takes me so long to knit this thing, is carrying this thing around. Anyway, is actually, it was an earring, or is an earring. It's a opal. I love opal stone. I guess it's a stone. I don't know if you get good lighting. There we go. And I was wearing them one day when my parents and I were looking at campers. And I lost one. I think I changed out the type of earring it was. Anyway, lost one. So just completely devastated. And I was like, well, at least I can use this one as a stitch marker. And I thought that the color, the turquoise, went really well with this blanket. So I was like, fine. At least I'll have it with me. I can see it and everything. And that will make me happy. I'll show you this from the bottom. It's as wide as it's going to be because I've already started bringing up the side. I stopped making it wide here. And I think next time I come to the top, I think I'm going to be at the top. So it's just filling in the other corner. But I'll kind of bring it up so you can kind of see. It's just so big. But yes, I think it's almost, I think maybe one more square. I'll have to look at the pattern. I don't look at it until I get to here and go, okay, do I put the new one here or do I put it here? And it's either this upcoming time or the time after. Anyway, and that'll be the length of it. It's so heavy. Maybe I'll give it away to somebody that likes or is wanting a weighted blanket. Be like, here you go. All this giant thing up. It's like a little baby. Or I should say a big baby. So there's that. Can't wait to get caught up and then maybe work on something else. Now I have fuzz nose, excuse me. Oh, that's literally all I've been working on. I think when I came back from my trip, I was 2.5 weeks behind on it. I'm so sorry. And it doesn't sound that bad. That's only 2.5 weeks, so that's 14 plus half, so that, it's like 17 days. Well, each day that you're working on it, you have to add a day, so it adds up. You're like, yay, I got 2 squares done. Well, technically you only got 1 from what your backlog, because you got that day's done. Anyway, getting there. Okay. I think I'll talk about, oh, I know what I want to talk about next. When I came back from my trip, before going on my trip, I had moved a lot of my stuff, like in the living room, knickknacks and furniture and stuff, and moved them into the yarn room where the dogs couldn't get to them, because my house ended up being like the dog sitter house, and I just didn't want things broken or chewed on. And so anyway, so when I came back, I was putting all that back, and I was like, you know what, I really want to talk about this. So before I put it back where it goes, I'll show it to you guys. It's a little dirty. But a couple years ago, I had seen someone had a lamp with yarn inside. And I was like, oh my god, I want one. So my mom that Christmas found a lamp that was empty on the inside, and so I have filled it with leftover sock yarn. Isn't it the cutest thing? It's one of my favorite things. So yep, can't wait to put it back and turn it on. But that's a little idea for you for some of your sock yarn. In fact, I could use another ball right here. I actually was looking for a specific color for something, and I need some scrap. I think it was that purple shawl that I haven't started on yet. It's actually beneath the camera right there. But anyway, and I was like, ooh, that's a perfect purple, so I went in and I grabbed it out of there. So I need to put something else in there in that blank spot. Sorry, I'm putting that on the floor because my table is full. If only you could see my table. I feel like I've been talking forever and it's only been 15 minutes. Okay. So, I was thinking, this was like 2 weeks ago or so. I was like, you know what? Every year people do these advent calendars. Sorry. I told you I had yarn up my nose. People do these like yarn advent calendars every year, and I've never gotten around to doing one. Either by the time I think about doing it, it's past time, it won't ship in time, or they're out because you have to kind of pre-order and they ship super early, or whatever. And so I was like, this year I really want to do one, and this is the time to order one. So I went on Etsy and was looking around, and I didn't really care what like season it was going to be for. I didn't care if it was very Christmassy or Halloween, just some Halloween ones. Didn't really care about that. But while I was looking, I kept seeing like fall colors. There it is. I kept seeing fall colors. These beautiful fall colors. And I'm like, you know what? Everybody keeps talking about fall, even though it's only mid-August and it's 109 degrees out, and fall is not anywhere close to being nearby. But dang it, I want to enjoy the seasons this year, and those fall colors look amazing. I did not order one. Once again, college student, a little tight on money. So I was like, you know what? I have plenty of yarn behind me. How about I just make my own? I know I don't have enough yarn for like an advent calendar for fall colors, but how about I just make my own fall something? So I spent like 2 hours trying to figure out what I was going to do. Trying to figure out what colors I wanted, this and that, what colors I had available, and then trying to match those up to a pattern, and it just was, oh my goodness, it was a long night. And it's not exactly what I was looking for, but it will do, and I'll be happy with it. It'll be fine. So I found, this is actually, I think, a Knit Crate. Yeah, it is. This is a Knit Crate yarn. There's 2 of them in here. Euro yarn. And it's sugared worsted, colorway gilded. And I'll show you the back. And I know it's kind of dark to you guys, but it's like a multicolored brown, but there's speckles. I love speckles. I don't know if that's picking up at all. There we go. Let's get some speckles. There's all different kinds of browns in here. I guess I can pull it out for you so you can see it better. I'm sitting here trying to be lazy. Okay, so just different shades of browns, kind of a, I don't know, a poopy color. But I was like, you know, but that's a good, you know, and I've been wanting to work on this. It's soft, it's nice, it's speckled. I love speckled, but I was like, brown? I don't use brown very much. But I was like, hey, fall, why not use it then? And then, this is not even close to being the same kind of yarn, but just feels like alpaca yarn. I'll show you the band. In fact, I think this was given to me years ago, just some tan, but I thought that it would go well just fine. It's just neutral brown colors. Once again, it's not the perfect fall, you know, palette, but it'll be fine. This is apparently 100 grams, 80% something alpaca, Hyukia, and 20% soy silk. And I guess it's by the Rumor Mill. I think I have some others in the different colors, but anyway. So it's like those will be fine. So now I need to find a project that I can base those off of. And I wanted to do, I have so many shawls. I love knitting shawls, but I have so many, and I'm planning on making more and this and that. So I was like, I want a poncho. My brain tells me ponchos are dorky. But I'm also like, but I want to knit one and I want one. And I'm like, you know what, screw it. I mean, I chopped my hair off. I think I can wear a poncho. So trying to find a poncho with the yarn I had, you know, available was a nightmare. I finally found this one. And lo and behold, it's called Summer Poncho, but I'm going to use it for the fall. So it's actually not going to be a fall shawl. It's going to be a fall poncho. And it is a free pattern on Ravelry, so I can show you this. And she had, I know the picture's not perfect because it didn't come out as bright when I printed it. It's like a multicolored base, but then there's the eyelet rose. There we go. I think she used more like a cream white color. And so I figured I could use my tan color for that and then use the brown for the other sections. So I think it'll work just fine. I also wanted to find one that wasn't too big because I live in Texas. It doesn't get that cold here. But I think it'll be fine. I'm a little nervous about the neckline looking really stretched out. But it is a poncho. It's not supposed to be like a sweater, so I think it'll be fine. So I'm super excited. I'm not allowed to cast it on until at least October 1st because fall does not start until then. So it's just been put aside in my wonderful little craft antique caddy that a friend of mine gave me for Christmas last year. I had a project in here last spring and I can't remember what it was. Probably one of those shawls. But I was like, oh, I really, you know, what can I use? I'm like, oh, I haven't used this in a couple months. So the fall poncho is going in here. Or technically it is in here. I just got to create it. So thank you, Savannah. All right. So obviously I ended up not ordering a yarn advent calendar. And my brain told me, well, heck, you don't need to buy more yarn. Why don't you just create your own? And it'll be fine because if you create it this year, for next year, you have such a horrible memory, you won't remember. You won't remember what you put in the daily stuff. Because I know I have such a horrible memory. I won't have that problem. See, there's one benefit of having a bad memory. So anyway, so I was like, fine, I'll create my own. So I went to Walmart and I was like, okay, what do I want in this advent calendar for myself tomorrow, or for next year tomorrow? And I was like, what do I like? I like chocolates, I like tea, I like books, I like yarn, I like this and that. And so I was like, okay, so I sat around Walmart forever, finding chocolates to create my own advent calendar. And I just picked up some of these. I just wanted some more gourmet-ish. Obviously, it's not gourmet. I actually even looked on Amazon for like a gourmet variety pack of chocolate, but I don't like dark chocolate. A lot of them, like, a lot of it is dark chocolate. And it just seemed a lot, you know, it's just chocolate. And why is it being so expensive? And I do like these. And so I was like, you know what? These are fine. These work perfect because they're nice and flat, if you've ever eaten these. So I picked those up. And that's also when I picked up that new tea. And so each package has a thing of chocolate and a thing of tea. I also bought this peppermint tea. because I figured for Christmas time that'll be a good one. And then I just threw in some of my other teas that I like in there as well, so I had a nice variety. And then I kind of just picked out some little knickknacks, not really knickknacks, just some little stuff. Like I threw in a really tiny little piece of some hand lotion I had bought years ago and just randomly stuck it in one of them, so I'll be surprised when I open it. There's a couple little stickers, things like that. And then I was like, okay, well, the yarn. I'm like, I'm going to use scrap yarn. Well, because most of my sock scrap yarn is in my lamp that I just showed you, and I don't want to empty that out, I was like, well, poop. I don't have enough sock yarn to do that with. I'm like, well, fine. I have, actually, let me go get it. Hopefully you don't fall. Step really carefully. I have from when I was, and still, when I was first starting off knitting, I was doing a lot of like bulky acrylic yarns. And I stuck all my little end pieces and leftovers into this is actually a bed sheet set bag, but it's nice and canvasy, and so it's tough and it zips up. It ends up being perfect. I'm all about reusing things, save money. And so I was like, well, I'll just make it out of this yarn. Well, I pulled it out and I'm like, all these yarns just don't go together. I know it's supposed to be stripy and scrappy and kind of just funky looking, but I know that when I start pulling these out, I was not going to enjoy it. I just, no. No. And plus I was looking at it already. I'm like, no, I know I'm not going to enjoy it. So then I sat there and I was trying to force myself to do it. But I was like, but I want to enjoy this. So I went on Etsy and I found some people that were selling yarn, selling scrap sock yarn at a decent price. I ended up buying a lot because I needed enough for, get like these packages of 10 balls of 10 grams each, I'm like, well, I need 25. So I think I ordered 2 of those so that make it 20 of them. Well, she ended up shipping me more because I was like, well, I do have a couple scrap yarns and I'll throw a couple of mine in. Anyway, I ended up ordering from a Sheep's Clothing. And she sent me tons of extra balls of yarn, stickers, and these little like seed packets, so they're perfect. I put them in my, I was going to show you. I was like, I'll put them in the daily little packages. I'll be, those are perfect. Thank you so much. In fact, I need to go on and review my order and give her all the praise. This is actually the yarn I had left over. She just threw in a bunch of little, these are not really 10 grams, but she just threw them in. And I'm like, oh, thank you. Awesome. For free. This much for free for my order. So thank you so much. Oh, God, I love this blue. You know me, I love like aquas and blues. So Miss, I'm so sorry. A Sheep's Clothing, if you're watching this, thank you. So anyway, so it arrived today. Oh, I forgot one whole thing to talk about. Along with the chocolate, the tea, and little bits, not everything has something extra in there, but, I like to read. And so while I was I swear I still have a fuzzy on my nose. When I was at Walmart, I grabbed a book, and I have not read this book. It is by an author that I have read one of her other books before, and I really, really enjoyed it. In fact, I read it in one weekend, which is like record-breaking for me because I'm a slow reader. I don't know if it's because I'm forgetful or what. But anyway, and I was like, it should be good enough. And it seemed like a not so long of a book because I needed to split it up for 25 days and not have it crazy long. So that way it would be possible to read that much in one day with work and school and anyway. So I got home and I X-Acto knifed that book apart. No one get mad at me for that, okay? I know destroying a book is awful, but it was a one-time thing, okay? And so anyway, so I stuffed them in these little pouches. Here's an example. In here is some chocolate, some tea, and about a chapter worth of part of a book, and then a ball of yarn. So obviously this is day 13. I've got them all numbered. I have 2 bins. I'll show you one. I keep getting like, I'm all over the place. This is one bin, and the other one looks just like it. So, but you have day 1 and so on and so forth. So I couldn't. These don't look the greatest. I couldn't find anything that was a little bit bigger that wasn't god awful expensive. Once again, the whole point of me doing this myself was to save money, and so I didn't want to spend a whole lot of money. These were bad enough. They were $4 for a pack of 12, so I had to buy 2. Yes, and I have 1 tin. And in fact, I thought about it. I have a bunch of tins. I love tins. This is one of them, and I have a bunch of tins that are tea tins, and I'm going to save them, and maybe someday I will have enough to just use the tins. I only had like 7 tins, so that was not going to cut it for the 25 days of Christmas. So anyway, this is Christmas Day. So anyway, so the packages are a little small, but it'll work. I don't need to do anything with them until I open them, so who cares what they look like. So the yarn came today, and I was like, okay, I know I have a bad memory, but I really still want this to be a nice surprise. And so what I did, I sat there and like, do I do this blindfolded? That's hard. I actually I blindfolded myself and poured out the yarn, because I was like, well, I'll just like plunk them in one, because I already got the packages ready. All I needed was the yarn and then for me to seal them. And I was like, I was afraid they were going to roll all over the place and the dogs were going to take them and I wasn't even going to know, and I had the cats on the table and this and that. So I became a genius. And when you're taking a picture or about to take a picture on your phone, you can change the setting to like a black and white setting. So I saw the balls, but I had no idea what color or shades or anything like that, because I literally only looked through my camera on my phone, like at the picture. And I was like, here's a ball, here's a ball. I had no idea what color it was. So if you want to do this on your own, that's the way to do it. So there was a few times where I did get a glance at some yarn, but I already don't remember. I mean, there's definitely some blues, maybe some white, some green. I mean, it's going to be a surprise, especially since it's a year out, more than a year out. So they are ready and so beautiful. I'm so excited. So then I was like, well, I need a pattern. And I was like, do I do a shawl? It's not enough for a blanket. I'm like, well, what I did is because she sent me more yarn than I needed. And so that was another reason why I used the camera on my phone, because I could count easier. I was going to try to feel and count, but once again, I was afraid I was going to knock one off and it was going to roll away and the dog was going to eat it and it was going to be really pretty color and I was going to miss out or whatever. So, but I could tell that there was more than 20, because it was only supposed to be 20. It was supposed to be 2 bundles of 10, and she ended up, I don't even know how many she sent me. So, figured it out that there was only 25, and put the rest in that Ziploc. And then I got my little gram scale out, or I put it back in the kind of canvas bag she brought in, so I couldn't see through it. So yay, weighed it, and like, okay, and it ended up being 200 grams even. I was like, okay, cool. So I went on Ravelry, and I was like, okay, I need a scrap sock weight yarn pattern with just under 200 grams. Grams? Yeah. And boom, this popped up. It's a scarf, which I'm totally cool with. I've been thinking about doing a scarf anyway. It's called the Mini Mania Scarf by Sarah Core. And apparently it does these like slip stitches, so it looks like it's woven, which I think is amazing, especially with scrap yarn. That it kind of makes the colors blend together a little bit, and so even though it's kind of rainbowy and everything like that, it doesn't seem that harsh that you're changing colors, if that makes any sense to you. This is a free pattern off Ravelry. So anyway, so I printed that and kind of read through it, and she's got all different ideas for different sizes. And I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to do it because I have 25 balls, and I know that some are bigger than the others, which is fine. But, and I think you knit it long ways, and then it builds this, you know, this way. Which obviously is so fine, it will be 25 this way, or I don't know if I'm going to do like 2 rows of each color. I'll have to see when I start it with the first ball of yarn and cast on and knit across, and then although that's cast on's only half a row is what they consider it, but anyway, I'll figure it out. I should have used that one as the first big one. If I run out, if one ball is smaller and it runs out, I'll just grab one of my other scrap yarns and stick it in. No one's going to be able to tell the difference. So, but yes, this is going to be my yarn advent calendar next year for Christmas. I'm so excited. Is it Christmas next year yet? But yes, I had a lot of fun putting all this together. Cutting up the book was tough. Oh, but other than that, I'm gonna have fun with it. All right. Well, I think that's about it for the knitting side of podcast. I have just a little bit of my personal story, I guess you could say. So if you don't want to listen to that and don't care, I would go ahead and duck out right now. Bye. But for those who do want to listen to the life of me, here it comes. So, pretty much the only thing that's been going on is a little bit of challenge with school. I am in my, hopefully last year at college for my bachelor's in accounting. And I had originally only signed up for one class this upcoming fall. And that was mostly due to I need 3 more classes to graduate, okay? So that doesn't leave me with a lot of options with my work schedule and trying to schedule classes. So only one of those 3 classes was offered as a night class. Everything else was like 8 a.m. in the morning or 1 p.m. in the afternoon or something, and I work. And so I was like, well, I can't take those days, those classes. So I will take the one I can and then just pray and hope that next semester both of those will be night classes or online classes or whatever. If not, then my graduation will be further extended. And maybe I'll never graduate. I don't know. We're going to see. Well, come to find out that if you're taking only one class, none of your student loans or grants or anything like that will apply. You have to have at least 6 credit hours, which means at least 2 classes. 2 standard classes. Well, I didn't know this, so I was not planning ahead. So I did not have the money saved up for my tuition. I thought I was golden. So I was like, oh crap, I'm going to have that classes drop. I can't. It's $1,400. I don't have $1,400 laying around. Sorry. Okay. Well, so I went about a week going, oh, I won't have class this semester. I will have an entire fall off. I mean, the summer off was nice. Now I'll have an entire fall off. Oh, even better. So I kind of got in the idea of that, and I was like, this is awesome. I mean, it sucks that it's going to, extend my graduation, but cool. I won't have class. I'll get a lot of knitting done. Hey, I will knit a fall poncho. Hey, I will do this, and this, and that, and this, and that, and all these ideas of all the stuff I was going to do. Kind of what I did in the beginning of the summer. Anyway. Well, then I was sitting there thinking, I was like, I really would like to graduate someday in my life. That way I could have that feeling all the time. And so I was like, well, let me just take a look, because I know new classes get added, things change, whatnot. And I had signed up for that class like months ago. So I went on and I saw that one of the other classes I needed was now available online. Granted, this class is not going to be the best class to take online because it's going to be a struggle. I'll just have to study more, fine, whatever. But I got to take that option. And that bumps me up to 6 credit hours. So now I have to wrap my mind around being in school with 2 classes. First it was 1 class, hey, easy peasy. Then no class, hey, even easier. Now 2 classes, oh boy. It'll be fine. I used to do 3 classes. Now granted, those weren't like senior level classes, so they're a little bit easier. So it'll be fine. We actually at work, they changed our hours, and we now have Friday afternoons off, and so I'm going to dedicate that time to the online class. That's the day that I'm really going to sit down, and if there's any like video lectures or whatever, that's the day to do that. Obviously other days I could also use for homework or whatnot, but that is going to be my dedicated day for that. My 1 class on campus is Monday nights, and so that's going to be taken. But yeah, and then maybe I can still have a decent weekend. Knowing me, I'll do a couple hours on Friday, and then I'll set it aside, and then finish up Saturday, which is fine. It's fine. So that is starting not this upcoming week, but the following, so the 21st. I have 1 week left of spring break. Where did the time go? So I I was like, well, let me at least order my textbook. And I thought about having it shipped to me, but I've had that happen in the past where I ordered it like 2 months ahead of time for a summer class, and it never arrived. And it was like 2 days before the class started. So I started freaking out because, especially a summer class, there's no time to just sit there and wait for the textbook to show up. You've got to get started. In fact, if you hadn't already, you're already behind. Like, it is only a 5-week course. 5 weeks to do an entire course. So you pretty much have to do a chapter a day. Like, you have no time to wait. So I ordered it again and paid for overnight shipping. And that showed up maybe 1 day later because, of course, of the weekend, whatever. And then, sure enough, the next day, the original textbook came in. But because it was COVID and the campus was closed due to COVID and it being summer, I could not return it. So I ended up buying that textbook twice. And actually, I had bought that textbook 3 times because earlier that spring, so it was an an astronomy class. That class was Astronomy 2. Well, that spring I had Astronomy 1. And I think I had only done like the rent a book, which is not much cheaper. It's like only $10 cheaper. Not knowing that Astronomy 2 uses the same textbook. So technically I rented 1 and paid for 2. I know that book really well, by the way. So there was that. So anyway, I didn't want to go through that mess again this semester. And so there was an option to order it online and then just pick it up at the bookstore. I was like, oh, that'll be easy. I'll just walk up there and say, hey, here to pick up my book. Shouldn't be a problem. I've already paid for it, so that means it's already been put on hold for me. And I was like, oh, and I'll go ahead and pick it up my Friday afternoon off. It'll be perfect. So I head all the way in, and the campus is an hour away from my house, but it's 40 minutes away from work, so I just headed from work. So it was only 40 minutes that way, but anyway. And I get there, and the lady is like, did you get the email saying that the book was ready? And I'm like, what do you mean? The book should be ready. It's already been made. You just had to grab it off the shelf and slap my name on it. Isn't that how it works? It's like the library when you pre-order, reserve a book, as long as it's in the frickin', she's like, well, you have to wait until that comes. You get this email because we are 2 weeks behind on getting the books ready. You're a week out from college starting for the semester, and you're 2 weeks behind? Are you freaking kidding me? What's wrong with you? So, like, it's not the first time this has ever happened. Like, this happens every semester. You should know what to do. This should be a standard thing. Like, what? Anyway, she took hard on me because I kind of mouthed that I had driven an hour, and so I'm pretty sure she gave me somebody else's book. So sorry to whoever that is. I did not ask her to do this. I did not ask her to do this at all. She's like, well, I'll just see if I have it, and she slapped my name on it and gave it to me. So if it was yours, I'm so sorry. I did not ask her to do that. But yeah, I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, this is your job. How are you not prepared for this? Oh, and then on top of that, campus was crazy because apparently it's move-in weekend. All the students that are living in the dorms are moving in, so they had like all these roadblocks set up and just idiot people driving around because apparently freshman college people drive like high school people and don't know how to drive. And I watched this lady for like 10 minutes go in and out of a parking space until she got in there, and she had a tiny car, and I'm like, just turn the steering wheel. It was ridiculous. I could not wait to get home. So yeah, so there's that. Luckily, night classes, the campus is pretty much dead by that point, so I usually don't have to deal with crazy drivers. But yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah. I'm not sure what the heck I'm gonna, when I'm gonna podcast next, because it's probably gonna be just the temperature blanket, although I am getting caught up, and I'm gonna stay caught up this time. But I'm also gonna need some projects for school. For one to go in my backpack while I'm in class, and then one to be sitting at my desk while I'm studying. Because if I'm just reading a textbook, I can knit. In fact, I prefer to knit because it keeps me focused on my textbook. So I'm going to need to kind of figure out some projects. I'm going to try to do some projects that I already have going. Some whips that I've never even shown you guys. That one sweater. That stupid Sweet Pea sweater. Anyway. So this week we'll be getting everything ready for school and figuring out what knitting projects will go where and blah, 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 blah. So maybe I'll show some of those next time. And I don't know if I'll be podcasting as much as I have been because I will be in school, so I'll be a little bit busier. But maybe I will need it as a way to get away from all that. So who knows? I don't know. No guarantees on anything. I'm going to clean this all up and have another cup of tea. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye!